when you look in the extractive industry, you will find that it's all people from South Africa, from Australia, Canadians. These companies are the ones who are dominating extraction here in Ghana until recently.
Yeah.
The president inaugurated the Songo salt mine and refinery just a few weeks ago and talked about how a Ghanaian industrialist has managed to become the owner of such an important extractive industry. So let's interrogate it.
Yeah.
First of all, let's determine whether indeed salt is as important as they say it is. Let's also determine how Ghanaians got to be, a Ghanaian company got to be the controller and owner of this industry. And how can we replicate this across our economy?
I like the very last part of it. How can I take advantage?
Absolutely. Where do you find yourself in this success story? That's what we want to talk about. And of course, we have the best person to help us with it. Let's say good morning to the executive chairman of the McDan Group of companies, which is the parent company of Electrochem. That is the company that is running the Songo salt mine. Dr. Daniel McKorley, good morning to you.
Good morning, Kojo.
It's good to have you, but I think this conversation, it's a positive story, but it's also a little depressing to think that we own almost nothing in our country. How did Electrochem manage to position itself in such a critical extractive sector?
Thank you, Kojo. It's been a long journey, but we had to do what we have to do. I mean, Ghana is all that we have. I'm an entrepreneur, and I can't go to any other country to invest, no matter how hard it takes to own what belongs to us. We have to do it, no matter how hard. It has to be done. So, Electrochem, being the biggest salt mine in Africa, we are about beginning, and it's amazing. You need to come and see. So, this is where we find ourselves. We got to do what we got to do.
So it's over 40,000 acres.
Yeah.
Of a salt mine.
Yeah.
Why salt? Why is salt so important?
Well, I mean, if you look around the world, there is no important commodity than salt. Salt is used for everything, almost everything. The shirt you are wearing, the paper in your hand, the pen in your hand, this mic I'm speaking into, everything is salt. You can get 14,000 uses from salt. And any country, immediately your salt industry begin to grow. That means you are industrializing. Everything in salt, every chemical, the Dettol we use, the soap we use, ceramic tiles that is extracted, it's all salt. Even your body, without salt, 5 minutes you are dead. So salt is everything. The pharmaceutical companies, that is how important salt is.
So, what's the idea? Is Electrochem seeking to supply a local market? Are you aiming at exports? What's the business model?
You know, I remember one day sitting in the conference. At that time, Nigeria was net importer of cement. And Dangote said he's going to make Nigeria net exporter of cement. That same concept here. Electrochem, being a Ghanaian owned, is going to be a net exporter of salt. Now import a lot of salt into Ghana. We're going to make salt a net exporter in this country. We stand for change. Electrochem stands for change. It stands for impacting people's life. And this is a Ghanaian, and it's for Ghanaians.
So I was talking to Mama B earlier and asking, how do Ghanaians see themselves in this story? Obviously, Electrochem is in Adan. It's an employer, right? And I'm sure already. Oh, how many are you employing at the moment?
3,000. Yeah.
3,000, and I'm sure there are plans to expand.
More. Yeah.
Tell us about that. How does a company like Electrochem tackle the employment situation in Ghana?
Well, till now we've employed about 3,000 people, and we are employing more. We are expanding the infrastructure to the east side of Adan. We also employ another 3,000 or more there. We are building the port. It's an export port where all the salt will be.
In Adan?
In Adan. Actually, we've done a lot for the people, and we stand for the people. And now if you enter into Adan, you see a new feeling. You can feel the change in that community. And you've seen what is going on right now. You'll be amazed, because every sector of Adan is developing or growing, if I may say. Now you cannot even get a room to rent in Adan, because a lot of, in simple terms, a lot of people are trooping there for employment. It has ripple effect on other economic activities over there. And even what we're doing is we've cut off places for the community to do the salt. We have introduced the community salt mining. I'm talking about the impact of what we have done there. At the same time, apart from that, the community can also do salt in other places, but they have to do the salt according to international standard, and we have given them contracts to sell back to the company so that they have ready market for their salt. This is great, and every community had been given 11 pounds, which plus or minus in the West, they will be mining over 98,000 bags annually. Yes. So apart from that, the women in the communities are being supported. The youth in the community are being supported. I mean, we currently launch a 3 million Ghana cedi to support the community. Women into their businesses, to support them in their various trade. We just acquired 150 acres of sports village to build a whole sports village, toilet, roads, and all that. This is the direct impact in that small community of Adan.
If you just joined us, we're talking to Daniel McKorley. He, of course, is the executive chairman of McDan Group of companies, and they are the owners of Electrochem, the parent company of Electrochem. Electrochem is, well, it's the owner of the biggest salt mining concession in Africa, and it's all Ghanaian owned. We're trying to figure out how this was done, and Dr. McKorley, I'm curious. I'm concerned. I want to know.
Open up.
How you did certain things. I want to know how, because when I look across the landscape, it doesn't seem as if Ghanaians are interested or capable of dominating any sector. So how exactly did you do it? How were you able to position Electrochem, or how was Electrochem able to position itself in such a key sector?
Well, to me, you have to believe. I have a lot of faith in Ghana, and you have to believe. You have to brave. You have to soldier on, no matter how the difficulties. How did we position ourselves? It's been a tough fight. Change is difficult. But when people begin to see change, they transform. Change is extremely difficult. Looking at the part of the world we find ourselves, you don't need to talk too much. You have to be focused. Everything you do, you have to be focused. You have to respect the people around you. You don't have to carry your weight about. This is a place for 54 years. You can't do anything there.
That's even why I'm amazed.
Yeah, for
at what
50
Electrochem achieved.
Yeah, for 54 years, I mean, companies had come and gone. Both local and foreign companies had come and gone. And it's a simple, you need to have intelligence. You need to also to respect the people. You need to be able to bring people on board. Power is not resolute in one person. You need to understand the economy. You need to understand, but top of all, you must have courage. You shouldn't be afraid. A lot of people discourage us. A lot of people say, look, you're going to waste your money. You're going to just waste your time and money. But I wonder how you see people in red arms on the street and still continue spending money. I mean, for now, I respect the people of Adan. I thank them for allowing this project, which they are going to be the primary beneficiary of this project. So the project is actually not for me, it's bigger than me. I'm just the torchbearer, I'm just the leader, as I always say. It's a big project, and I pray Ghana should be the winner at the end of the day.
Now, we noticed that the launching of the salt mine and refinery, that McKorley, who of course is the person at the head of the African Continental Free Trade Secretariat, based here in Ghana, was there. Help us understand the connection here. African Continental Free Trade and Electrochem.
Well, Ghana is very fortunate to have the Secretariat of the Continental Free Trade being hosted here. And every business must take advantage of that. More or less, McKorley is the head of the trade and sales person. And this is what Africa needs. Africa more or less imports all its salt from Brazil, Mexico, and other places. Salt is really not produced in many countries. So to have McKorley there to grace the occasion, it's amazing. And as he promised that day, that he's going to make sure that this salt gets to the whole of the African continent. So this is one of his mandates, to promote African businesses and African goods.
Is it difficult having a business in Ghana but having customers across the continent?
That is what we need. That we really. Why should it be difficult if you are making money? We need dollars right here. We need to, whilst we're taking our dollars out of Ghana,
we need to be bringing
dollars in, and that is how we have to look into the future. Businesses that will bring in dollar, because we have to, as this country keep growing with the economic crisis all over the world, we have to start changing our gross domestic product, net domestic products, by exporting more and importing less. Anything at all that we are importing, there must be a conscious effort to try to produce it right here so that we can export to bring in dollars whilst we reduce our dollar expenditure. This is the only way this country will be better in terms of economic empowerment.
So it's not an endeavor that has obstacles. Don't you in order to get your product to all these markets that have different currencies, different trade laws? How is the African Continental Free Trade Agreement working in favor of Electrochem?
Well, there's something aphorism had put together called the PAPS. You can buy whatever you want to buy in your own local currency, and I mean, it has a value of the dollar, but just that is done in the local currency.
Right.
The Continental Free Trade had opened the door for businesses like this, and I hope to see more of these replicated in other sectors, which we can do. We have to begin to pick some few sectors in this country to be net exporters instead of net importers into the country.
Do you already have customers across the continent who are
Well, we're
buying
getting
salt from us?
we're getting calls, orders every day. That is why we are bent in increasing the production of salt. For now, we're doing the raw salt, we're processing it. By next year, we'll open one of the biggest refineries in Africa. So we will be exporting refined salt. We'll also, we are changing the scope to quickly fix the chloralkaline plants to start producing chemicals. So that is the level that we want to get. And we need to serve the pharmaceutical companies across the continent under the Continental Free Trade.
If you just joined us, we're talking to Dr. Daniel McKorley. He's the executive chairman of McDan Group of companies. They are the parent company for Electrochem, and Electrochem is running the biggest salt mine and refinery in Africa. How did they do it? That's what we're learning. When we come back from these messages, there's one question on my mind. Is an industrialist like McDan a one-off, or can McDan produce more McDans? Dr. Daniel McKorley is our guest, and we're talking about Electrochem. We're talking about salt. We're talking about industry. We're talking about exports. We're talking about our economy. All right. Now, the president was quite clear when he called you a shining example of an industrialist here in Ghana. What you've done is good for the economy, but is it a one-off? I mean, in Nigeria, we saw how there was a deliberate effort to create Dangote, right, as a billionaire, who then created several industries which are firing the economy of Nigeria. But others followed. We now see other industrialists emerging from Nigeria. Can others follow you?
Definitely, I mean, we've started already before the commissioning of this amazing project. The McDan Entrepreneur Challenge. Yeah, McDan happens to be the only CEO of CEOs. That's what I always say. We are building entrepreneurs, and that is what I want to see this country being in the next few years. I took it upon myself to build 10 entrepreneurs every year, and some of them have started clocking over $1 million mark annually already, those we created.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this industry is also serving as a platform for other entrepreneurs to plug in. I mean, looking at about 14,000 uses of salt. Somebody can take transportation, sacking, packaging, factories, little small chemical factories all across the country. This is huge. And apart from the salt, you know what McDan stands for already. I mean, there's one mark, which is consistency. When you're building business in Ghana, it's quite a difficult terrain, but you have to be consistent. Focus and be consistent, and make sure you achieve the needed results. You will be measured by your track record. You will not be measured by what you say. It's not about the talk, but it's about what you do.
Let's look at the future. I mean, at the moment, there's a salt mine. There's also a refinery.
Yeah.
What else does Electrochem want to establish?
For now, that salt mine is for the whole Ghana. We'll be going to do the chloralkaline, the refinery and the chloralkaline.
Tell us, what's the chlor-alkali?
The chlor-alkali is a chemical plant that extracts almost every chemical out of salt. Caustic soda, sodium hypochlorite, calcium, all those chemicals that we use for our various industries, our homes and all that. It's all coming from that place. Manufacturing industry, the pharmaceutical industry, across the world. That's the chlor-alkali. And what the group is intending to do is to build a chemical university.
Oh.
Yes. So immediately we build a chlor-alkali plant. We're heading towards what we call proper and serious industrialization. But you will need research institution in terms of chemicals. So we'll be building a chemical university in Adan.
Also in Adan?
In Adan, yes. And it's going to be interesting.
You know, I'm comparing what you're doing with salt to what Ghana has done with gold and oil, where we've just taken it from the ground or from the sea. Or well, we've called people to come and take it from the ground or from the sea for us. Then they've paid us a little bit for that. And then we are not included in the rest of the process. We then sit back and wait for them to take it away, go and do what they like with it. Then we buy the finished product back from them with the small money that they paid us for taking it from the ground. You're trying to do something different with salt here. Walk us through the main differences between how you are extracting salt and how Ghana has extracted everything else throughout our history.
Actually, salt is the only infinite resource in the world. And salt is the most important commodity, or yes, let me use commodity you can ever find anywhere in the world. No doubt about that. This is Ghanaian. This is for us. We are doing it right here. I don't have foreign partners. I want Ghanaians to own this. How will Ghanaian own this? By next year, we'll be on the stock market.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll be on the stock market. This is an extractive industry. I want to see the government being part of it through the pension fund. Teachers can own shares. Nurses can own shares. Ordinary people on the streets, even the people of Adan, who the place belongs to, can just sit and buy shares. We're creating value for all. And I want to see everybody being a partaker of this. And it's a whole.
So this is interesting. What you're saying is that, in essence, for the first time, Ghanaians will have the opportunity to own part of the extractive business for a commodity that will never run out.
Never.
So if you are buying shares in such a company, you are buying shares in a company that's not going to wake up one day and say the mine has dried up.
Never.
Or the oil well is empty.
Never.
There will always be salt.
There will always be salt.
So in essence, you are giving Ghanaians a chance to come and buy shares, so that as your company is growing, they are getting richer.
You're growing. Everybody is growing.
Also, I've noticed that you want to add value instead of just selling salt to people, which would make you enough money anyway.
Exactly.
You want to add value as well. So you talked about the chlor-alkali, and then you are doing refinery already.
Yeah.
So can Ghanaians also set up businesses that would tap into what you're doing, maybe become off-takers?
Definitely. That is all this is about. You can have a packaging companies cut across. People can start developing or improving. Value added is the next world. You know, currently MIF, the Income Investment Fund.
Yeah, the minerals income.
The minerals investment fund is coming on board as an equity partner. We are almost closing the deal, and this is what this is meant, that We are starting from somewhere. It's not just stock. After that, you see us on the stock market. And anybody, you see a lot of pockets of companies springing across the country. This is not like gold. This is let me use the word, we have to domesticate the development of this industry and get the best out of it for ourselves. For this is our own. The seawater will never finish. Therefore, we have to take the best advantage. I have started. The difficult part is what I have done and what I am doing right now. The rest, you can sit in your homes and enjoy a portion of it. You can come on board also, be an off-taker, it's open for the country.
If you just joined us, we're talking to Dr. Daniel McKorley. He's the executive chairman of McDan Group of companies, the parent company of Electrochem. They've done something great with salt. They're continuing to do something great with salt, and they are challenging the nation to also tap into that industrialist spirit. Before we leave, if the audience were to take one thing away from this conversation, one message that you want them to take away from this and always remember, what would it be?
Well, I would like to tell Ghanaians that we should support our own. We should be able to support indigenous businesses. This business, whatever you do in this country, I believe you me, President has supported this project. The government has supported this project. Anybody in Ghana has good heart for this project. So the only thing I will leave for Ghanaians is let's support our own. The other thing I'll lead for businessmen is to be consistent and be brave. The businessmen in this country have to look beyond our comfort environment and fight to hit the height that other businessmen in other countries are hitting. So this is what I've asked both Ghanaian and entrepreneurs in this country.
Well, there is certainly a lot to digest, and it's a call to action that you've made. I hope that it falls on fertile ears. Dr. Daniel McKorley, thank you so much for making time to spend breakfast time with us today.
Thank you for having me.